Everyone's busted. For violating drug control laws? Yep. That's Detective Chief Dong Wu's style. But he doesn't stop there. He cuffs a fellow cop, red-handed, in cahoots with the drug smugglers. "Let me go, man," the crooked cop begs. Half the major crimes unit is in on this. You can't take them all down. Dong Wu doesn't flinch. Another corrupt cop goes down. But Dong Wu's crusade earns him a one-way ticket to a sleepy rural town. Demotion time. Does that stop him? Hell no. He discovers the mayor's nephew is also mixed up in the drug game. No special treatment here, straight to jail. The same day, his boss shows up with a special missing persons case, a big one. Trusting Dong Wu's skills, he offers him a ticket back to Gangnam's major crimes unit. Dong Wu hits the internet, digging into the case. It leads him to a top nightclub hostess. A few nights earlier, Jae-hee, the hostess, was partying when she glimpsed a chilling text on a pimp's phone. She ducks into the restroom, calls her close friend, another top hostess named Jung Hwa, and urges her to run. As soon as she hangs up, the pimps are on her tail. A terrified Jae-hee flees and vanishes. At the same time, Jae-hee disappears. Jung Hwa is snatched by the pimps. They tear through her phone but find nothing. Find Jae-hee, they order their goons. She must have it. Whatever it is, it's clearly important. Meanwhile, Jae-hee's hiding out in an abandoned amusement park. After some serious thought, she deletes everything but one video from her phone and stashes it in a locker at a subway station. As Dong Wu investigates Jae-hee's disappearance, he gets a call from the hospital. His daughter's depression has flared up again. The doctor urges him, busy as he is, to spend more time with her. Visiting his daughter, Dong Wu notices a distinctive tattoo on her arm. He's about to ask about it when his wife arrives. They talk, and Dong Wu learns his daughter has a female classmate who was a little too interested in her. That night, Dong Wu takes his daughter home from the hospital. She asks him to help find a friend. And that friend? Jae-hee, the missing hostess. His daughter is worried sick about her. Dong Wu brushes it off. His daughter's a good kid, a straight-A student. Jae-hee works in a nightclub and lives a risky life. He doesn't want them hanging out. Then his daughter drops a bomb. I can't live without Jae-hee. And that's when Dong Wu sees it. The same tattoo on Jae-hee's missing poster. The same tattoo on his daughter's arm. Turns out, Dong Wu met Jae-hee a year ago. His daughter brought her to him. Jae-hee needed help, but Dong Wu, judging her lifestyle and assuming she was trouble, blew her off. Seeing his indifference, Jae-hee stormed out. Now, for his daughter, Dong Wu has to find Jae-hee. Back at his old Gangnam precinct, his former colleagues dig up some dirt. Jae-hee was caught on the nightclub security camera, passed out on a toilet. A pimp helps her out and into a car. Dong Wu recognizes the pimp, Gil-ho, a guy with connections to the cops. Both Jae-hee and Jung Ah worked for him. While on the run, Jae-hee meets with Gil-ho and learns Jung Hae-chwa's been taken. Gil-ho tells Jae-hee to lay low while he tries to find her friend. He interrogates a drug smuggler and tracks Jung Hwa to a hotel. There, Jung Hwa is brought before a group of rich young men. The leader, sporting alligator skin shoes, oozes cruelty. Gil-ho arrives at the hotel, but it's too late. Jung Hwa has been brutally murdered. A cleaner discovers the body. Then it vanishes without a trace. The drug smuggler frantically calls a famous celebrity, Jun Sel, to report the missing body. Jun Sel is furious and demands they find it. Turns out, he was the guy in the alligator shoes. On the surface, Jun Sel is a shining star, warm and friendly. Underneath, pure evil. Jung Hwa's body turns up in a subway station. Security footage shows Gil-ho carrying it there. Dong Wu officially rejoins the major crimes unit, but his past busting corrupt cops hasn't earned him any friends. They refuse to share information, but Dong Wu has his methods. He tracks down Jang, the cop he arrested 3 years ago. Jang's lost his badge and now runs a small, shady business. Dong Wu uses this leverage to force Jang to help him find Gil-ho. The nightclub footage confirms a link between Gil-ho and Jae-hee. Jang's contacts reveal that 2 of Gil-ho's top hostesses are now one dead, one missing. Dong Wu shows Jang a picture of his daughter with Jae-hee. Bingo, it's her. Jang figures Gil-ho's probably shutting down his operation and skipping town. But Gil-ho's not running. He's protecting Jae-hee and hunting Jung Hwa's killer. That night, Jun Sel sends a thug to offer Gil-ho a deal. Hand over Jae-hee, name your price. Gil-ho refuses, demanding to speak directly to Jun Sel. Back at his company, Jun Sel gets roughed up by his business partner, the nightclub owner. He screams at Jun Sel to find Jae-hee. If she doesn't turn up, they're all doomed. Later that night, seeking revenge, Jun Sel lures his business partner, a hip-hop artist from his early days, to a bar. After a fake reconciliation, Jun Sel apologizes, then has him brutally murdered. He immediately calls a contact to take over his dead partner's company. Meanwhile, Dong Wu puts pressure on Jang, who unleashes his online network and quickly locates Gil-ho. The informant says Gil-ho's meeting a thug tonight. Dong-woo's there. Jun-sel, ever cautious, sends the thug in his place. The thug tells Gil-ho the deal's off, unless Jae-hee comes with him. Gil-ho now realizes Jae-hee has something incredibly valuable. A video, maybe. And that's why Jun-sel and his crew killed Jung-hwa. Gil-ho, enraged, is ready to avenge Jung-hwa, but Jun-sel unleashes a gang of thugs. They're hitting hard, and Gil-ho's going down. Just when he's about to lose, Dong-woo arrives, pulls the wounded Gil-ho into his car, and speeds away. Where's Jae-hee? Was Jung-hwa murdered? Dong-woo demands. But Gil-ho's too injured to answer. Suddenly, a cop car cuts them off. The cop, working for Jun-sel. They were seen together at the club last night. Money changing hands. Demands Gil-ho. Dong-woo refuses. Shots are fired. A struggle ensues, guns drawn. Seeing no way out, Gil-ho makes a desperate leap from a bridge. Dong-woo traces Gil-ho's last phone call to a closed-down arcade. Locals tell him it's a front for an illegal nightclub, Gil-ho and Jae-hee's hideout. Meanwhile, Dong-woo's colleagues find a social media connection, a blonde guy who knew Jae-hee. He disappeared after Jung-hwa's murder. Suspecting he's involved, Dong-woo teams up with Jang again. They follow the blonde guy to a karaoke bar, another drug smuggling front. Chasing him to the rooftop, Dong-woo finds the corrupt police captain. Both the captain and the blonde guy are arrested. Prosecutor Sel-jin interrogates the captain, hoping for information. Instead, he gives her Jun-sel's number, arrogantly telling her to call him. Sel-jin shares this with Dong-woo, along with another detail. She saw a girl at the subway station where Jung-hwa's body was found, leaving a gift, a memorial for Jung-hwa. Dong-woo recognizes the girl, Jae-hee. Sel-jin asks him to share what he knows. Dong-woo tells her about the two hostesses, especially Jae-hee, who vanished before Jung-hwa's murder, and who is also his daughter's friend. He has to find her. Just then, Jun-sel calls Sel-jin, gloating that he's found Gil-ho before the cops. Gil-ho survived his jump, and Jun-sel has bait to lure him out. He also arranges a hit on the corrupt captain in jail, a loose end he can't afford. Gil-ho receives a photo, Jae-hee, captured. They threaten her life, demanding a meeting tomorrow. Jun-sel knows Gil-ho will take the bait. Seeing Jae-hee in danger triggers a flashback years ago. Jae-hee was a hostess at a different club, constantly fighting with customers over money. Gil-ho fell for her instantly. His boss, a kind woman, took Jae-hee under her wing. She became Gil-ho's top earner. Though pimp and hostess, they cared for each other. Gil-ho even gave Jae-hee a tattoo to cover a scar a customer gave her. He remembers her dream, to save enough money and disappear, to live a peaceful life somewhere nobody knew her. Then their boss was murdered, leaving them adrift. Gil-ho wanted Jae-hee to leave the life, but she insisted on staying with him, trusting him to protect her. As Jun-sel predicted, Gil-ho goes to rescue Jae-hee. Sel-jin texts him, urging him not to walk into a trap. Too late. He's already at the club. In the elevator, he calls Sel-jin. Why should I trust you? She tells him she's on the same side as Dong-woo, the cop who saved him. If he goes through with this, he may never see Jae-hee again. Inside, Jun-sel's torturing a woman. But it's not Jae-hee. It's a random hostess. It's all a setup. Now trusting Sel-jin and Dong-woo, Gil-ho contacts them and agrees to meet at the arcade. He confesses that Jun-sel killed Jung-hwa, but the reason is disturbing. The club's VIPs have special activities, doing whatever they want to the girls, including murder. A disposal crew takes care of the bodies. Gil-ho left Jung-hwa's body at the subway station to get the police involved. Sel-jin and Dong-woo suspect high-level corruption, possibly involving the chief prosecutor himself. To bypass him, they approach a politician, who agrees to assign an inspector to the case, hoping for some political leverage. The inspector takes Gil-ho's statement implicating Jun-sel. Dong-woo takes Gil-ho to Jang's place for protection. Gil-ho asks how Dong-woo knows Jae-hee. He admits she's his daughter's friend. Dong-woo worries Jae-hee's a bad influence, and that Gil-ho's trying to recruit his daughter. Gil-ho scoffs, pointing out the matching tattoos. He gave Dong-woo's daughter that tattoo, not to recruit her, but to cover a scar inflicted by a classmate who was harassing her. He calls Dong-woo a clueless father, whose daughter had to seek help from a stranger. The next day, Sel-jin sees the inspector in the chief prosecutor's office. She's been played. They're all working together. To expose the corruption, Sel-jin wants to leak Gil-ho's information to the press. Dong-woo vehemently disagrees. A seasoned cop, he knows this will only put Gil-ho and other innocent hostesses in danger. Meanwhile, Jae-hee borrows money from a former colleague, retrieves the phone with a crucial video from the subway locker, and receives a terrifying text. Jun-sel has kidnapped her friend and another man. He demands a meeting, threatening their lives. Jae-hee forwards the text to Gil-ho and goes to the meeting point alone, determined to end this. A frantic Gil-ho ignores Dong-woo's warnings and leaves Jang's protection. Dong-woo learns Jae-hee's going to an arena where the rich gamble on brutal fights. He tells Gil-ho to stay put, but Gil-ho's going to save Jae-hee no matter what. Jae-hee, disguised, hits a ride with a VIP to the arena and slips inside. Masked men enter the fighting area, a modern-day Roman Colosseum. Spectators bet on which slave will survive. Junsel, the bookie, rakes in cash. Jae-hee finds one of her friends. Junsel's alerted to her presence. He checks her phone. The video's gone. He attacks her. Jae-hee's ready. If she dies, the video will be released online. Enraged, Junsel slashes her face. To save her, Gil-ho enters the arena as a slave, fighting for his life. A crazed Junsel offers a 2 billion won bounty on Gil-ho's head. The other fighters turn on him. Junsel's ecstatic, until his men realize the fight's being live-streamed on his fan site. Jae-hee's doing. She'd overpowered the VIP in his car and set up the phone to stream. Dong-woo and Seo-jin arrive with a warrant. Junsel tries to escape but runs into a rampaging Gil-ho. Seeking revenge, Gil-ho slashes Junsel's face. Dong-woo restrains Gil-ho, telling him Jae-hee's safe. There's hope. But the next day, Seo-jin goes to question Junsel, only to find him dead. The inspector starts snooping around Seo-jin's office, and the chief prosecutor issues veiled threats. Things are getting dangerous again. Then Dong-woo gets a call from his daughter's phone, but it's a stranger, taunting him for meddling. His daughter's been kidnapped. Dong-woo races to a cleaning company based on the kidnapper's phone location, but they're gone. Jae-hee, rescued, is unharmed. Dong-woo urges her to give him the video. It's the reason she's in danger. Jae-hee's still wary of Dong-woo. She claims she gave the video to someone else. He takes her to a convenience store. Away from the club scene, she seems younger and more innocent. But Dong-woo gets a call from his team, mentioning his daughter's kidnapping. Jae-hee overhears. He asks about the video again, but she slips away. Jae-hee, cherishing her friendship with Dong-woo's daughter, makes a deal with the club. The video in exchange for his daughter's release. The girl comes home safe. Jae-hee returns to the club. The madam gives Jae-hee the car keys, urging her to run away with Gil-ho, far from Gangnam. Jae-hee declines. She's run enough. She's facing her fate. The club arranges a special live stream for Jae-hee's return. Dong-woo notices the background, the building across from the cleaning company. He races there. Meanwhile, Gil-ho's recovering. Dong-woo urges him to leave Gangnam before the cops and prosecutors come after him. He promises to protect Jae-hee. Gil-ho's friends agree. He needs to go so Jae-hee can start over. He plans to leave by boat that night, but the madam texts him about Jae-hee's decision and the club's plan. He abandons his escape to protect her. Jae-hee, dressed seductively, enters the bustling live stream room, playing along, gifts piling up. Dong-woo reaches the building and fights his way past the club's goons, but he's outnumbered. The boss appears, threatening Dong-woo, mentioning his beautiful daughter. Suddenly, on camera, Jae-hee drops the act. She walks to the window. She's not playing their game anymore. She's taking control. Gil-ho arrives just in time to see Jae-hee fall to her death. He breaks down, devastated. The boss's car speeds past. Consumed by rage, Gil-ho gives chase, only to be injured in a car accident. Jae-hee's death shatters Gil-ho and Dong-woo, and his daughter. Before her final act, Jae-hee texted her, reminiscing about their friendship. Dong-woo's daughter told the madam that Jae-hee saved her life. She wanted to help Jae-hee in return, but Jae-hee believed it was the other way around. Back at school, Dong-woo's daughter was being harassed but was too afraid to fight back. That's why she got the matching tattoo. Gil-ho covered the scars left by her bullies. Jae-hee stood up for her, telling her to be strong, to fight back. And because of Jae-hee, the next time she was harassed, Dong-woo's daughter defended herself. For the first time, the day Dong-woo's daughter fought back, Jae-hee was on a rooftop, ready to end her life. Seeing the girl's newfound strength gave her strength. She tearfully recounts this in her final message, grateful for their friendship. Dong-woo's daughter sobs, heartbroken. Dong-woo collects Jae-hee's ashes. His daughter blames him for her friend's death, and his lack of trust pushes Jae-hee to the edge. She runs away. Jae-hee left a message for Gil-ho, thanking him for his care. He vows revenge. Reviewing the Gangnam Club case files, Seo-jin finds a name, Director Choi. Junsel's phone confirms it. Choi's number is in his contacts. Realizing Choi's the puppet master, Seo-jin texts him, requesting a meeting. He agrees. Seo-jin lays out what she knows. Choi's unfazed. He's prepared for this. He respects her skills and offers her a partnership. She accepts. 3 months later, Seo-jin's been promoted. She's now the head of the anti-corruption division at the Supreme Prosecutor's office. Dong-woo's life has fallen apart. Devastated by Jae-hee's death and his daughter's disappearance, he quits the force and becomes a driver for nightclub hostesses. He cares for the girls, but it's a cover. He's searching for his daughter and investigating a new designer drug, neon. He meticulously documents his findings. He takes his neon intel to Sel Jin. Days earlier, the vice minister's son was seen using it, but Sel Jin lacked evidence. Dong-woo hopes his information will help. She coldly rejects him, telling him to stay out of it. Sel Jin's changed. Director Choi wants to build a luxury medical center, but Sel Jin's superior opposes it. This superior, a former prosecutor, climbed the ranks by protecting Choi, and now works at the Blue House as the presidential secretary. He no longer needs Choi and blocks the project. Choi learns the secretary wants a 30% cut. He tells Sel Jin to approach the mayor, the secretary's ally. Threatened with corruption charges, the mayor approves the land reasoning for the medical center. Then, on Choi's orders, Sel Jin has the presidential secretary's office raided, and he's arrested. Director Choi tasks Sel Jin with investigating the Food and Drug Safety Administration, but offers no explanation. Sel Jin discovers transactions between the presidential secretary's bank account and a pharmaceutical company. She confronts Choi. Choi reveals his true goal, not just a medical center, but a combined drug and antidote operation. Hook the rich on a drug, then offer the cure. After a few cycles, they'll need treatment at his medical center. A perfect scheme to drain their fortunes. He wants control of the FDA to monopolize the ingredients and legitimize the drugs. Dong-woo's still searching for his daughter. Her social media account shows recent activity. She's in Gangnam. He contacts her online, but she tells him to stop looking. He discovers her location pings coincide with Nae on sightings. She's involved. He tails the club madam, hoping for a lead. But Gil-ho intercepts him and punches him without a word. Dong-woo broke his promise to protect Jae-hee. Gil-ho doesn't trust cops anymore. He tells Dong-woo to stay out of his business. The madam tells Gil-ho that Jae-hee chose to die. He refuses to believe it, demanding information about the neon supplier. He wants revenge. Days earlier, Gil-ho firebombed a club's latest drug stash, learning about neon. Dong-woo, now working as a driver, gets a tip, a party celebrating Nae-on's official launch. He arrives. It's a school, transformed into a nightclub, pulsing with music and bodies. He spots his daughter. She's dressed provocatively, like a hostess. He calls out and begs her to come back, but she ignores him. He chases her, only to be hit by a car driven by one of the club's thugs. They drag him into their car. Another vehicle slams into them. The thug recognizes the driver. Gil-ho, out for revenge. Gil-ho rescues Dong-woo from a group of thugs. Just as they're about to cause more trouble, police sirens scare them off. Gil-ho takes Dong-woo to safety. Dong-woo explains that his daughter is being forced to work at a bar, but Gil-ho is indifferent, even cruelly telling Dong-woo to experience the pain of losing a loved one. After Gil-ho leaves, Dong-woo asks a bar hostess for the madam's contact information, hoping she'll release his daughter. However, the madam saw Dong-woo's daughter refuse to leave with him and refuses to help. Desperate, Dong-woo asks the hostess for the thug's location. Arriving at their hideout, he's surprised to find Gil-ho there too, seeking revenge for Jae-hee. Gil-ho calms down and tells Dong-woo that Director Choi is the mastermind behind everything. Suddenly, a thug attacks Gil-ho. Gil-ho overpowers him, but the thug manages to flip a switch, revealing the scene inside a glass-walled room opposite them. Dong-woo and Gil-ho see it's filled with alcohol, soft drinks, and flour. Clearly not for anything good. Elsewhere, the kind-hearted madam urges Yi-sel, Dong-woo's daughter, to go home. Yi-sel refuses. The madam, now suspicious of Yi-sel's motives for being at the bar, is shown a video on Yi-sel's phone. It's a crucial message from Jae-hee, recorded before his death. Jae-hee's dying wish is for Yi-sel to give the video to her father, a policeman, hoping someone will fight for justice. That night, the bar's management and some VIPs are hosting a party, and a few hostesses will be attending. Yi-sel asks the madam to include her, wanting to avenge Jae-hee herself. She hides a weapon inside her vape pen. While the madam agrees to Yi-sel's request, the thugs receive a call from one of their men, claiming Gil-ho and Dong-woo are at the bar trying to steal their drugs. This is a lie, coerced by Gil-ho and Dong-woo to lure the thugs into a trap. However, they quickly realize the bar has security cameras, and their every move is being watched. The madam calls Dong-woo, urging him to rescue all the girls, freeing them from exploitation. Dong-woo prepares to go to the address she provides, but Gil-ho insists on staying. One of them must confront the enemy. After Dong-woo leaves, Anju douses the place with gasoline and waits, lighter in hand. The thugs arrive, not with weapons, but with fire extinguishers, and charge at him. Gil-ho is in serious trouble. Meanwhile, the madam makes her move, knocking out one of the thugs with a bottle. The madam breaks the news to the girls. The party's canceled. But the thugs, tipped off, not only identify Dong-woo's daughter, Yi-sel, but also viciously attack the madam. They abduct Yi-sel and the other hostesses. Dong-woo arrives to find the horrific aftermath. The madam is already dead. In a stroke of luck, the madam, in her final moments, managed to give Dong-woo a small, unassuming cloth doll, a birthday gift he'd given Yi-sel years ago. Hidden inside a tiny pocket of the doll is a memory card. It contains a video, crucial evidence that Yi-sel, fearing the worst, had entrusted to the madam for her father. Dong-woo watches the video, the chilling truth of Gangnam's underbelly unfolding before him. The bar, it turns out, is working hand in hand with corrupt high-ranking officials in the prosecutor's office. They're using the hostesses as human guinea pigs for drug trials. The video shows a hostess being injected with a substance, a live experiment to test an antidote's effectiveness. Jae-hee, serving drinks, secretly filmed the whole thing. Dong-woo immediately sends the video to his junior colleague, instructing him to take it to a research facility for analysis. The drug trials instantly trigger a connection in the junior colleague's mind, Prosecutor Seo-jin. He tells Dong-woo that, as instructed, he's been keeping tabs on Seo-jin and recently saw her visiting a pharmaceutical company. Armed with this new lead, Dong-woo heads to a location Seo-jin frequents, hoping to find answers. There, he runs into one of Seo-jin's colleagues. The colleague reveals everything to Dong-woo. Seo-jin's cooperation with Director Choi was a ruse. Her real goal was to gather information on him. By gaining his trust, she infiltrated his inner circle and uncovered critical evidence. She learned that Director Choi, the deputy minister, the mayor, and others are colluding with the pharmaceutical company. They're running a scheme where they intentionally make people sick, then administer the antidote for profit. Armed with this knowledge, Dong-woo contacts Seo-jin, revealing his daughter's presence at the party and promising to share Jae-hee's video evidence. In return, he asks Seo-jin to stall for a time at the party. She agrees. At the party, Director Choi, the mayor, and other high-ranking officials are present. To Seo-jin's surprise, the former Minister of Justice, whom she'd previously arrested and who is now the Blue House Secretary, a powerful position, is also there. It becomes clear that Director Choi and the Secretary are not enemies. Their earlier conflict was staged to test Seo-jin. With no other choice, Seo-jin continues the charade, distributing project contracts. Director Choi opens the glass-walled room, revealing the girls who are about to become test subjects, including Dong-woo's daughter. He calls in a team of doctors and orders them to administer the drugs and antidotes. The injected girls suffer adverse reactions. One even vomits blood and dies. Director Choi, unfazed by the death, continues the experiment. Seeing that Dong-woo's daughter is next, Seo-jin interrupts, insisting the officials sign the contracts first. This temporarily halts the experiment. However, after reviewing the contract, the secretary is unhappy with the profit distribution. He complains that Director Choi is taking the lion's share, leaving the officials with only a small portion. Meanwhile, the injured Gil-ho is loaded into a car by the thugs, but he's not done yet. He escapes from the trunk and attacks his captors. He then makes his way to the pharmaceutical company where the party is being held. Coincidentally, after seeing Seo-jin's intel, Dong-woo also arrives at the company, which is Director Choi's headquarters. He's quickly surrounded and attacked by men in black. Outnumbered, he's saved by Gil-ho, who sets a fire as a distraction, allowing Dong-woo to escape. While Gil-ho fights off the thugs, Dong-woo sneaks inside, searching for his daughter. More men in black surround Dong-woo. He reveals the video Jae-hee recorded, the one Director Choi fears most, to all the officials present. After watching it, they refuse to sign the contracts. Fearing exposure, the secretary and the other officials demand that Director Choi delete the video, renegotiate the profit split, and then they'll reconvene. Director Choi, however, rashly orders his men to kill the secretary. Witnessing this, the terrified officials sign the contracts and flee. Outside, Dong-woo and Gil-ho are battling the thugs. Seeing them closing in, Gil-ho activates a rolling shutter door, separating himself from Dong-woo and telling him to protect his daughter. Alone, Gil-ho is brutally beaten by the lead thug and nearly killed. But fueled by his desire for revenge, he manages to turn the tables. Inside, Director Choi, undeterred, calls for the last remaining girl who hasn't been injected, Yi-sel, Dong-woo's daughter. She hides her identity and pretends to obey him. But Director Choi already knows who she is. Seeking revenge, Yi-sel attacks him with the weapon hidden in her vape, but only manages to injure his arm. Meanwhile, Dong-woo fights his way through the thugs and finally finds his daughter. Director Choi threatens to inject Yi-sel with a drug, making her life a living hell. Dong-woo tries to intervene but is held at gunpoint. In a split second, he overpowers the thug and grabs the gun. Director Choi escapes. Dong-woo asks Seo-jin to look after his daughter while he pursues Director Choi. As Choi's car speeds away, Dong-woo recklessly steps in front of it. A gunshot rings out, forcing the car to stop. He drags Director Choi out and brutally beats him. Then, he points the gun at Choi's head. Choi is unafraid, convinced Dong-woo won't shoot. Suddenly, Gil-ho appears, takes the gun, and kills Director Choi, finally avenging Jae-hee. At that moment, Gil-ho sees a vision of Jae-hee's dream of escaping the abyss. A battered Dong-woo reaches his daughter and embraces her, finally able to protect his loved one. Later, Dong-woo and Yi-sel visit Jae-hee's grave. Yi-sel remembers happy moments with Jae-hee, running on the beach and watching sunsets together. Grief-stricken but relieved, she vows to live a good life in his memory. Thanks to Jae-hee's video, Director Choi's crimes, and those of the corrupt officials are exposed. The release of the pharmaceutical company's drugs and antidotes is indefinitely suspended. However, despite uncovering the conspiracy, Seo Jin's inaction and tacit approval of their crimes implicate her. She decides to face an investigation and accept responsibility. Dong-woo returns to the police force, continuing his patrols in Gangnam, cracking down on bars and drug trafficking. One night, responding to a report, he finds a bar where the drugs have been burned. He chases the arsonist outside and sees Gil-ho disappearing into the crowd. Gil-ho glances back, but Dong-woo lets him go, knowing Gil-ho is fighting crime in his way. Dong-woo gets into his car, his gaze now resolute and fearless. And that's the end of the movie. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more great movies. See you in the next review.